Hey all, here at OS Reviews, you're watching our hands-on review of the SOUNDPEATS Truengine2 True Wireless Earbuds. These are currently live on Kickstarter, and you can find them for $70. SOUNDPEATS is a brand that we've checked out a few of their wireless earbuds in the past, and they were one of the first companies from Shenzhen, China to really push on that TWS trend, so they do have quite a few generations of experience by now. The Truengine2 represent one of their flagship models that packs in what they claim to be the best audio quality possible through dual drivers. There's a beryllium driver that is going to control your high frequency trebles, and there's also a composite driver that's going to control bass as well as mids. So it's able to give you more of an open and wide sound signature than, say, regular TWS earbuds, which have a single driver and that might sound a little bit muddy because it's one speaker that's doing all of the different sounds. So it's claimed to be hi-fi grade, and there's also a specialized DAC built on in that gives you a digital to analog conversion that's further refining the audio developed by SOUNDPEATS. They're also using the latest Qualcomm chip that should improve the audio latency, as well as using Bluetooth 5.0. They're IPX5 rated, so you can wear them when it's raining, when you're showering, and it should be still fine. And there's even a larger wing that supports the weight and also makes them good for exercise and for sports. And it also features a wireless charging option that you can pay for $10 more to have access to. So you can pop this onto a Qi charging mat and have it quickly top up, but this is a added bonus feature. So if you don't want to have it, you can also buy the regular edition and save yourself $10. Inside, we have the earbuds themselves, which we'll take a closer look at in a moment. A wide array of spare silicone tips, some with wings, others that you can remove to get a custom fit. There's also a USB Type-C cable that you can use to charge it. Finally, we have some quick instruction guides as well as user manuals to get things started. Taking a closer look at the battery case first, initial impressions would be these are definitely not the smallest that you've seen. It's comparable to other wireless earbuds we've checked out that have a battery life of 100 hours or 120 hours. Those also have a pretty bulky battery case, but as we do a quick size comparison here, something like the Apple AirPods, you can see the big difference there in terms of the size. So it's definitely not the lightest or smallest battery case design we've seen. It's quite hefty, but feels really solid. One slight downside of dual drivers is they consume more power than the typical single driver pair of earbuds. Although the battery life per charge is actually quite good, they can last upwards of 7 hours, typically around 6 hours or so. That's also because the earbuds themselves do have a pretty large battery inside, and it's definitely thicker and larger than your regular pair of mini earbuds. Furthermore, even with this really large battery case, it actually only can charge up the earbuds for about 4 times, for a combined battery life of around 30 hours or so. That's still above average, especially if you compare it to, say, the Redmi AirDots or the aforementioned AirPods. It still is quite long, but again, considering the large battery case, we have seen other models that get upwards of 100 hours or so. And that's simply because, again, the proprietary drivers, the built-in DAC, all these things are taking up more juice to power. What's nice about the design of the case is you don't have to remove the wings to pop them in. There's a cutout just for that, which I really appreciate, and that was a complaint I had with older generations of these sports wireless earbuds. They forced you to remove them before popping them back in, which made it really easy to lose the wings. Once you are successfully paired and the earbuds are turned on, they will actually always be glowing white, which makes them look really cool in a darker environment. But when you start playing music, that's when the lights actually turn off. These earbuds are also touch sensitive instead of relying on a physical button, so you can tap on it very gently. It's quite responsive for playing and pausing your music and also for skipping tracks. But what it doesn't have would be dedicated volume keys, so you can't long hold, for example, to turn the volume up and down. You still have to rely on your phone's volume controls to do that. Now, we also have on the rear a transparent design that allows you to peek in and see those dual drivers. It's very distinctive and different from any other pair of earbuds that I've seen. Overall, because they are a little on the large side. Now, if we do a size comparison with the Apple AirPods, you can see there it's a lot thicker in terms of the side profile, which means it's really important that they have this rubber wing just because it fits in and alleviates some of the weight that you otherwise would have directly inside of your ears. Moving into audio quality and performance, one of the most impressive things is the clarity. There's very little hints of distortion or static in the background, which is just really tough. This is actually not our first pair of dual driver TWS earbuds we've reviewed. We've checked out another version from Blitzwolf that was the world's first TWS dual drivers, released a few months back. And the biggest problem I had with those was there was a lot of distortion and background noise. If you pause the music, you can hear a lot of hiss in the background. It simply has more complicated circuitry that it needs to resolve from a design perspective. But it seems like this model has fixed all those issues, even with the challenge of having multiple drivers stacked inside. The sound profile is also really impressive. Bass in particular is something that is one of the strongest attributes. Having a dedicated driver makes them really powerful, but at the same time they're still controlled and tight. It's not something that's going to overpower everything that you're listening to. At the same time, keeping mids and highs also really clean and crisp sounding. As alluded to, you do get a very surprisingly open sound for earbuds, and you can definitely hear layers of details within your music. None of those sounds and tones are muddy at all, and they're reproduced surprisingly well. Overall, they do an excellent job for basically any genre I've thrown at them, whether it's bass-heavy rock music or even vocal-heavy acoustic tracks. They still sounded really clean while delivering satisfying bass that's also rich, yet never overpowering or uncontrolled. So that's more or less it for our hands-on review of the SOUNDPEATS Truengine2, again TWS dual driver earbuds, which definitely have really impressive sound, especially for $70. It's quite amazing what they were able to achieve, and really just shows that SOUNDPEATS, with their countless iterations, have really refined and made TWS earbuds actually surprisingly good, even ones that don't really break your bank. As long as you can overlook the slightly bulkier dimensions and size as a compromise of having these dual drivers, then these are definitely worth a closer look. Very low latency, the audio and the video are synced together really well. You can play and pause a track really quickly, watch a video, and everything is still synced without any issues, and the microphone quality also is passable for making phone calls as well. You can check out more details if interested in the links down below, but for now it's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.